Yeah, a lot of people think this could be the year as far as Arsenal are concerned. 3 consecutive second-place finishes in the league, Champions League and Domestic Cup semi-finals. They've added strength all over the pitch. Their fans and players certainly starting to believe. Goalkeeper David Raya was talking yesterday on the success the new signings could bring.
The new signings, they have a key role just to improve the squad, to improve the depth. Especially what happened last season with the injuries that we had and the depth. It was a little bit short, and then the club did a magnificent job to recruit a lot of players, really, really good players, and they're going to be a key part of the success of this club.
And we should mention as well, Ray, obviously we've touched on new players, and we will do it again, but he's an important
he's been
facet,
brilliant,
isn't he, David Raya?
Well, I thought when they made that big decision, because goalkeepers are massive in any team. You can win the league, and you always need a good goalkeeper if you're going to win the league. The Ramsdale didn't do a lot wrong when he got left out, but it seems like it's been a really good choice from Arsenal's point of view. I think he's been excellent. I think he's played 100 games now for Arsenal, and the problem is when you're at Brentford, you're stepping up to Arsenal. No disrespect to Brentford, but it's the pressure gets a lot more fiercer. You can't be letting goals in week out, because suddenly you'll be out of the team. Where probably at Brentford you might get away with it a little bit more, but he's been absolutely brilliant. And as much as I love that Aaron, and he's moved on to Newcastle now, which I'm pleased for. Yeah, he's been a really good signing, David Raya. And you always got to have that understanding. He's good with his feet. We all know that, and that's probably what Mikel wanted from the back. And the back four know him very well now, so he's a massive part. If they're going to be successful this year, the goalkeeper is going to play a big part in that. But the signings they've made, Jeff, obviously I thought could be their season last year. Liverpool were too good in the end, come up short in the Champions League. But they've certainly strengthened in the right areas. It wasn't rocket science. Everybody was looking at a striker. Gyökeres, can he get the goals that they need? He's got 3 already. We look at Haaland, he's got 5 in the Premier League already. So if he can get the goals and he can learn to play with his teammates and make the right runs and get in the right areas and score goals like he has done when he was in Portugal, then they'll have a chance. Have
you seen enough to suggest that he will?
I think he's still learning from certain aspects of the game. I like it. You've got to play to his strengths a little bit more. You've got to roll the ball in. He's strong holding the ball up, people play off him. And he's got to learn when the ball's going to go into the box to make the right runs. And as I said before, I was with Alan Shearer at the weekend, who's arguably one of the best strikers ever to play in the Premier League. In first half, he probably wasn't making the right runs into the areas. And Alan highlighted it at half-time. And then second half, obviously, but they got the early goal. Great ball over the top. Eze, first-time pass. And that's where you can make your runs, when you know it's going to come in a certain end. Where they have another touch is really hard for strikers to make their runs, and that's what he's got to learn to understand who he's playing against, with.
Yeah, well, Troy Deeney, he's not having it at the moment. He says that Gyökeres will be outscored by fellow Premier League strikers.
I think he's good. I think he scores enough goals, but I don't think he scores enough goals to beat Haaland, to beat Salah or Eze. I don't think, for what Arsenal need to go over the top, I don't think he scores more than João Pedro over the course of the year.
Well, we'll see.
Well, that's a blinding statement, by the way, because João Pedro is a good player. Not an out-and-out goal scorer, not an out-and-out striker. I mean, he got 10 league goals last season, 9 the season before that. And if Gyökeres doesn't get more than that, I will be staggered.
I can see him getting more of that. But you're talking about top strikers there. Salah, he's always going to be scoring goals. Haaland, as we mentioned, he's had 5 goals already. He had his injury problems last year. But look, if he can get near to Salah and Haaland and players of that calibre, then it certainly gives Arsenal a lot more chance of winning a trophy. Yeah. And that's what they've got to do. Look, we don't know in football. We've had lots of injuries already to different sort of players in different teams. So you've got to try and keep him fit. That's the most important thing, to get him on the pitch every single week. But if you can do that, I'm sure he will banging goals. And he'll get confidence from scoring goals. And that's why I was pleased he's got his goal at the weekend. Got a couple against Leeds, so he scored 3 at home already. Now, look, there's another test tonight. I'm sure he'll start tonight, and see if he can get on the score sheet, and that will give him confidence for the weekend. Weekend's a tough game. Obviously, Man City coming off that good win against United. Now, that's when you've got to step up if you're a top striker.
But he scored goals in Europe. I think he's made a really respectable start there.
Yeah.
You know, he's got goals on the board. And
There's a lot of pressure on him as well, because everybody's going, oh, we need a number 9, we need a number 9. Now they've got the number 9. He's a little bit of pressure on him to bang goals in. So I'm pleased he's got off to a decent start. Can get better. Of course he can get better. And let's hope he can, if you're an Arsenal supporter.
I mean, and those signings, you know, not just Gyökeres, they've hit the ground running, haven't they?
Yeah,
Mendy's had a wonderful start. Madueke has had a fantastic start. Mosquera, who couldn't have expected a chance yet, but he's slotted in like he was an absolute natural.
Well, what he's done really well, Mikel Arteta, he's highlighted what he needed, and he's gone out and tried to get the best he could. He's got a couple of youngsters there going to learn off Gabriel. Mosquera, who's come in. Obviously, a tough debut, Liverpool way, to come on, but he looked okay. He looked not too out of place and done really well. Madueke's now a lease of life for him coming to Arsenal. You've got Eze, who's brilliant player. We all know what he can do on his day. So they bought really well, and so there's no complaints from the manager to say we haven't been backed. But now he's now getting the right formation and the right personnel on the pitch every single week, whether it's going to be rotating here and there, and getting results. And that's what it all comes down to, Jeff, getting results.
Neil in Cheltenham's point, he said, look, Jeff, do me a favour. Frimpong's only started one game. I mentioned that not all Liverpool signings have hit the ground running. He got injured in that one, hasn't started since. So it's a bit harsh to say,
he's a good
least
player,
give the guy a chance. Yeah, absolutely. What I mean to say, realistically, maybe I phrased it badly, is that at the moment, Liverpool's new signings haven't made the impact, for whatever reason, that they would have hoped, whereas Arsenal's are making the impact that Mikel Arteta
Jeff,
would have
you
hoped.
can argue that, you know, they're sitting on 12 points, though, and Arsenal on 9. So, you know...
Because they had a fantastic squad. And have a fantastic squad.
And if you look at Liverpool, and we could argue they haven't played to their best of their abilities at the moment, but they're still top of the league and not dropped a point yet. Yeah. So that worry you a little bit if you're an Arsenal fan, because when they do kick into gear, you know, what could happen then? Get everybody fit and everybody gets used to playing with each other. So, it's going to be a great season.
I totally agree. I mean, look, I tipped Liverpool to win the title last season. I've tipped them to win the title again this season. So I'm pleased that they've got 12 points on the scoreboard. We're not playing yay or nay, but we will do right now. So, will Arsenal win the Champions League, Ray? Yay or nay?
I'm not going to say nay, because I think they was a little bit unlucky.
There's already two options. So
well, I'm going to go yay then, because I'm not going to say they ain't going to win it, because they've got an excellent chance. But it's such a competitive league. We saw John Hills on earlier for Coral. And that's how close it is. 6-1, 6-1, 6-1, 7-1. So, you know, they're pretty decent bets to have to get to the latter stages. But again, you need a bit of luck. You need the right players fit at the right stages of the tournament. But I'm sure they've learned a lot from last year, and they can hopefully get to the final and see what happens.
Yeah.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.